That's right. He is Stephen Ellis. The NHL Draft 1 week from tonight. Round one begins in Nashville, Tennessee. Can't wait to have boots on the ground and talk to Stephen Ellis more about the draft as it continues. Check out dailyfaceoff.com where he's dropped his latest top 150 draft rankings. It is a mammoth file with blurbs on all of the top 100 players on his list. And you can also check out Stephen's full draft hub on dailyfaceoff.com. But Stephen, as you drop that top 150 today, one of the questions that everyone wants to know as your final rankings come out is who was your biggest riser ahead of the 2023 draft? Whose stock rose the most?
Well, I don't like to look at kind of short sample sizes a lot for players because like a tournament, for example, like the World Juniors, the U18s, that's not a great example of how good a player could be in a short span. Yes, but in a long-term thing, you're looking at different factors. But one player that really stood out in that second half of the year and really through that U18s was David Edstrom, who I have at number 30. Getting to see him in person really kind of opened my eyes to how good of a skater he was. Just strong hockey IQ, very strong dual threat as a shooter and a passer. And, he's got the size. He's 6'3", 187 pounds, and he uses that. So he's kind of got that power forward build to him right now. And, didn't get a lot of points this year in the SHL, but 4 points in 11 games is actually pretty solid for a player that, in a lot of cases, guys like prospects that come into the SHL don't play a lot. And he made the most of his opportunity. So we saw what he could do on that top line on that Sweden team. He set up a lot of the plays there. I think he's got a lot of value. So I wouldn't be surprised. I have him at 30. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets picked up by a team in the top 20.
Well, when you look back now, it's also a chance to see which players have not only moved up in your rankings, but have also had a chance to slip, and that's the unfortunate place that you want to avoid as a player. Trust me. So, give us maybe a name or two whose stock has fallen since the start of this season.
Well, unfortunately, it's one of my favorite players heading into this draft, and that's Cameron Allen from the Guelph Storm. I think I had him in like 10th or 11th in my first rankings as the top defenseman. I have him at 70th now, and I know a lot of places actually have him a little like even lower than that. Based on his play as a rookie last year, he looked great. He had the offensive skill, very strong defensively, looked confident. He was playing with fire despite kind of missing an entire year due to COVID, the way hockey worked out in Ontario. This year, he looked terrible at the U18s. He had a really so-so year of Guelph. He was playing above 30 minutes a night a lot of times. So, that is still a good thing, but it's his decision-making with the puck that really concerns me here. To me, there's still a lot of high risk, high reward here. Knowing that he didn't play a great year this year, and that's what you see the most of him this year, you're hoping that next year he could bounce back. And I think he's possible. I don't think he just forgot how to play hockey. I don't think he just forgot how to distribute the puck. But he's got to be able to refine those elements. And, the right coaching, I think, could turn that around. I do still believe that Cam Allen could be a good defenseman, but I'm not sure which player you're getting when you draft him at this point.
All right, Stephen, it's a bit of a fantasy hockey term, but I want to ask you about sleepers. Everyone wants to know, who's a diamond in the rough that a team might mine a little bit later in the first round? Who's a player that you feel really confident about that's not just going to make it as an NHL player, but could be an impact guy that people really aren't talking that much about right now?
Well, I tend to lean to goalies in a situation like this because goalie development obviously is just as weird as it gets. But one that I really like is Juha Jakola out of Finland. He was the goalie for Finland at the World Juniors in the summer tournament, and he almost kind of helped Finland win that gold in a way where the Finnish goaltending just wasn't getting the job done. And, this year, him playing 40 games this year is a big deal in Liga. He was one of the youngest goalies in the league, one of the youngest starting goalies. By the time he'll get drafted, he should be 21 years old. So he's a bit farther down the development line, and he's going to go back to Finland for another year. And, compared to some of these other goalies that are still playing junior, he'll have a couple years of pro experience under his belt. And, he's 6'1", so he's not a huge goalie by any means, but his flexibility, his athleticism, there's a lot of signs that you see in his game that you also might see in a guy like Adam Gajan, a goalie I've talked about a few times here, where, he's 6'3", very athletic. And I kind of see that same athleticism out of Jakola, where he's not really pushing himself out of position. He's very calm in the crease, and he's got a good head on him there. So I think, you look at him now, and he's played pro. Other goalies have not, and I don't want to say that gives him a huge advantage. But if you're looking for a more projectable goalie at this point, the guy that's got a few extra years could be very valuable. And I got him at number 91. So a year ago, I don't think he was on anyone's radar, and now he's looking like a goalie that could be one of the first taken.
if I'm not mistaken, looking through your top 150, I think you have Michael Rabel as the number 1 goalie available at number 44. I don't know. Just from people I talked to around the league, I think we will have 1, if not 2 goalies selected in the first round. The most important position in the sport, as I referenced earlier in the show, for whatever reason, teams don't really want to take a chance in the first round. But I think given how important the position is, it's worthy of a gamble to do so. Thank you to Stephen Ellis. You got to head over to dailyfaceoff.com and check out Stephen's Draft Hub. Just go right to the homepage, right at the top. You'll see it there. It says Draft Hub. Click on that. He's got 26 different player profiles up in terms of a full-length feature story on 26 players. In addition to all of his rankings from throughout the year, you can compare and contrast how players rose and fell, and his mock drafts. Everything is all in one spot to get you set for round 1 of the NHL Draft. 1 week from tonight, Nashville, Tennessee. Can't wait to see Stephen at Bridgestone Arena, June 28th. Looking forward to it. Thanks to Stephen for this week's edition of The Next Game.